Hi, my name is Anatola, and I created Afro Algorithms. I think that I was inspired by doing a bunch of research and discovering myself the issues of technology perpetuating certain stereotypes about people, but learning through NYU classes. And I kind of spent the last senior year, that was also through the pandemic, just like learning as much as I can on the subject from taking classes about the theory of artificial intelligence, but also the actual way to make it. And so I kind of just nerded out a lot for that time and then put everything into that story. And then for animation, I was always inspired by how you can create such unique worlds that don't have to adhere to the laws of physics, and they can really just be whatever you imagine them to be. So I wanted to take advantage of that and create very unique, surreal, and futuristic cities and forest environments, and I had a lot of fun crafting the individual elements of the project.
I'm Willow Edmonds. I'm the creator of Overload. I'm from South Carolina. And my biggest inspiration for film started out by watching The Secret of Kells. It is my favorite movie to date, and it is just a beautiful exploration of the Book of Kells, and a lot of like beautiful imagery and fluid motion, and that really helped me find my love for animation. And so I really wanted to incorporate a lot of fluid motion and suspending reality within my own film. So, yeah.
Hello, I'm Avery and this is Benet. Our film was Inkfish, and it was a trailer for a video game that we made together, and it was split half and half. So I did the animation and she compiled it all together and made all the backgrounds. Our inspiration was other indie video games, so a couple of creators was Playdead and I don't know. And then artists she kind of did a bunch of research for.
We didn't really have a specific piece of media that inspired us, but rather it was about this character who is sort of trapped in the room. They have a TV. It's all about what you see on the news all the time, especially with media is very easy to access, everything bad going on in the world, and the character doesn't want to go outside. They'd rather kind of go to sleep and explore through their dreams, and that's what the gameplay is about. And then about halfway through doing it, we got sent home for COVID in 2020, so it kind of came true. We couldn't go outside either. So, yeah.
Awesome. Do we have any questions in the audience meanwhile? Yeah, right there. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit more about why you chose this medium that you did, because it's like a really wide range of styles.
Well, I chose 3D animation. I know for a while, well, initially when I had the idea for this project, I was bouncing back and forth between mediums. I imagined it to be almost like in a gallery, like actual physical paintings, or an experimental film. And then I decided on animation, but was going back and forth between 2D and 3D. And I chose 3D because it looks so awesome, but it looks very more adult, I think, and futuristic. And I really wanted to be able to craft the characters. And also because it's about technology and the future, I wanted to have that like very crisp feeling with the animation and not kind of a softer feeling. And then also, like I mentioned before, just the ability to craft and model the characters, the world, and basically create our own 3D place. After making it, I feel like I have so many 3D assets, and I'm like, what should I do with all of these? Because I think I can make a whole like VR thing or like a game, something like that, because they exist as just models now that is part of the world that we made with the film. So yeah.
I guess for me, so this film was sort of made in like two parts for me. A lot of the film was actually created when I was 21 and actually just getting into animation once again. And so like the stop motion sequences are literally from the fact that I didn't know how to digitally animate yet. And then like all of the digital sequences were made by me when I was 24. Really kind of once I got a handle on like working in Photoshop and like how to sort of like take my interest in like traditional art and like painting and stuff like that and being able to put it in a digital space. And so it was very much like I wanted those two things to coexist together, just because on one hand, I was like trying to battle like feeling a little bit embarrassed about what my work looked like when I was 21 and wasn't as good as drawing, but also like on another hand, I was like, well, you know, this is about growth and like, you know, like Batman has changed like across, you know, 80 years of publication history. I mean, I haven't been alive for 80 years, but, you know, my work has changed sort of in that, in a span of time for me. And so I wanted like kind of that, I guess the physical as well as like the digital sort of coexisting in one space.
For my film, I chose 2D animation, but also heavily relied or only relied on rotoscope animation. So I actually filmed everything myself in a day on campus and edited everything together, and then spent about 3 months of rotoscoping by myself. And it was, I really did enjoy like using this specific technique because it closely relates to my own experience with sensory processing disorder, but also being able to transcend reality just a little bit and able to like open it up so more people can connect with it.
We also did 2D animation, though digital and digital art. It was easy for us to share our assets between our two projects since I was making a trailer in like Premiere and After Effects and she was using Unity to make an entire game level. So all of like the backgrounds, the character animations are shared between the two.
Awesome. One thing I was, curious to ask about, I don't know if any of you had a specific obstacle you can think about, like while you were making these films. Was there anything that, other than obviously COVID in the last couple of years, was there anything that kind of got in the way? And talk to us a little bit about how you were able to overcome it, or, the team that helped you. Were you doing it mostly solo? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for me, I encountered a lot of imposter syndrome, to be honest, because like I loved this film and I loved like the subject and it meant a lot to me, but I was also like, without, dropping a lot of expletives, like there's kind of like, evil Kermit in the back of my head, like, with the hood on, like talking to me, and, saying all these like evil, or not like evil, but like definitely not helpful things, and just like that little voice in the back of my head where there's just a lot of doubt. But it actually, and also being like within a pandemic and like all the isolation, it definitely did not help in terms of me just being like, no, just have fun, like it's film, it's literally just like animation about Batman, just have fun with it. But it actually took me just sitting down and just listening to Doja Cat like one night when I was just like, you know what? I am just done with beating myself up. I'm done with, being my own worst enemy. I'm just gonna, do whatever, have a lot of fun with this, and just kind of take ownership for it and be happy with whatever it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah, so my big challenge with this project was rendering, and if anyone isn't familiar with the process of 3D animation, rendering is a whole beast that ended up being interesting to navigate. Fun fact is that The Lion King by Disney took 2 years to render. So it was kind of, I learned pretty late in the process that it would either take like 6 months to render, which is just imagine just exporting the project for that long a time, or like pay exorbitant amounts of money. And so I met somewhere in the middle, and it ended up being okay, but I was very surprised by that. And so, another one is that I definitely had a sort of message I was trying to say in the project, and in the writing the script phase kind of had a journey of finding the right balance between putting it into a story that feels natural and not having it feel like a TED Talk, but disguised as a movie. So, yeah.
My biggest obstacle personally was being able to pour my heart out on screen. The things that I have personally dealt with for my entire life, I did not share with anyone up until this point. It's a very difficult thing for me to like grasp with, because I always felt weird about it and I didn't want to talk about it. So being able to make this film was really cathartic for me, but during it, I also had a lot of imposter syndrome. But now that it's done, it's really nice to see up screen and know that I made that. And yeah, and also I only had a semester to do it, and so time constraints were a little difficult for me, but I'm proud of the work that I made, and yeah.
Same for us. We had some time constraints, had a semester to do the project. Besides getting sent home partway through, I was able just to use knowledge I had from previous classes, but you had to learn how to code.
Yeah, completely.
Sorry.
Awesome, thank you. We had another question in the audience. Anyone else wants to? I can't see you because of the light, but do we have any more questions from the audience? I think we still have a few minutes. Yes, here in the front.
Yeah, definitely Secret of Kells. Favorite movie of all time. Saw it when I was like 10, and have watched it obsessively since then. So definitely recommend if you have not seen it. But also just a lot of like immersive games I do really love. Skyrim is probably my top favorite at the moment. And just any Disney, any Pixar movie, I fell in love with at childhood. So yeah.
For us, probably the biggest inspiration was Inside by Playdead. Just that the narrator doesn't talk, you don't learn a lot of information about it, there's no words in it, you just get that story just through what you see and what you explore.
Some animation that I love are Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, because it's a cool adult animation, and Arcane on Netflix, because I think the animation style is also very wild and beautiful and innovative. And then I also loved and was inspired by a VR experience that is called Neurospeculative Afrofeminism that had a very unique and beautiful 3D animation style as well.
I mean, I guess like the Batman animated series, 100%. But also like Batman Mask of the Phantasm is like basically, I mean, now that the Batman has come out, it's kind of in competition, but a year ago I would have said it's my favorite Batman movie, along with, you know, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. But also like, it's not super apparent in this film, but I'm a huge Jan Spankmeyer fan, and I just love like, I mean, his stop motion animation is just so wacky, and but also at the same time, I'm like, this is what my dreams are like at the same time. It's, you know, kind of hyper real in a way, and so one day I just kind of want to go just full Goblin mode on a movie and just make something kind of to, I guess, honor Spankmeyer.
I want to ask all of you, you know, you have your films in this festival right now. Are you already working on something else? Did you already start something else before this festival? Or what's next in general for you guys? You can start, yeah.
Yeah, so currently I'm, I guess, like trying to figure out how to best sort of represent like this idea that I have. And so basically like I've had 5 concussions, and like kind of with every concussion, there's sort of this like loss of information and memory that occurs. And I want to make a film about that because like 2 concussions ago, I like couldn't really remember who I was, but I had all these videos on my phone and like all this information through like pictures and stuff that I basically used to like remember who I was and like the things I did and the people I hung out with. And so I want to, I guess, like use those videos or just in some way kind of pay tribute to the ways that like, I guess now like our memories are sort of pieces of data that can be used, and maybe that goes kind of to your film and algorithms and stuff like that, but that's kind of something I'm working to unpack.
Awesome. I am exploring a few projects and seeing which is the one that really sticks, but one is a limited television series that is a cross between HBO's Random Acts of Flyness and Netflix's Midnight Gospel, because it would be a podcast mixed with very surreal visuals. And another one is a short film that uses volumetric filmmaking, which is a way of filmmaking that you use depth sensors, and it creates a holograph-like effect with the actor who's there. And so I think that's a really cool style, and I want to explore that.
I don't have any projects going on personally. I took a major break after this film, but am currently looking forward to going to college for scientific illustration and exploring a lot of wildlife and specifically documenting various bird species. I'd love to explore that more and maybe some animation projects on the side, but nothing planned at this moment.
We don't have anything really planned, just kind of going through classes, but we were going to try to make a game over summer, and then you just did a game jam. You want to do more?
We always have game ideas that we're just bouncing back and forth to each other.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations again for your films.